All right, let's get right into it. Apple just dropped something totally new, a brand new category of iPhone. It's not a Pro, it's not a Plus, it's simply the iPhone Air. And that name tells you everything you need to know. This phone was built for one reason and one reason only, to feel like it's barely there at all. Just take a second to look at that number, 5.64 millimeters. That's not just a spec, that's the whole story of this device. I mean, it is so ridiculously thin, it feels like a movie prop. To put it in perspective for you, the entire phone is barely thicker than its own USB-C charging port. It's just a wild feat of engineering. And paired with that thinness, you've got this number, 165 grams. For a phone with a big 6.5-inch screen, that is absurdly light. You know that feeling when you pick something up and your brain just isn't prepared for how light it is? That's what holding the iPhone Air feels like. It's this perfect, almost unbelievable combination. So what we're really looking at here isn't just a thinner iPhone. It's like a whole new direction for Apple's design. But to get to this incredible shape, they had to make some really specific choices. And it really makes you wonder what we as users actually care about the most in a phone. Now, before you hear the name Air and think watered down or budget, let's just be super clear. Apple did not skimp on the important stuff. You're still getting a gorgeous 6.5-inch ProMotion 120Hz screen, the same powerful A19 Pro chip that's in the top-tier models, the action button, the new camera control button, and MagSafe. On paper, this thing is an absolute powerhouse. But this slide hits the nail on the head. This is the big question, isn't it? I mean, was anyone really complaining that their iPhones were too thick or too heavy? Probably not. So this incredible piece of technology feels like an answer to a question that nobody was really asking. So why does it even exist? Okay, so if you're going to make a phone that thin, the first thing on everyone's mind is it going to snap in half in my pocket? It's a fair question. Well, it turns out Apple was so confident about its durability, they decided to face those fears head-on. Get this. At the launch event, they were literally daring people to try and bend the phone. They even showed a machine putting 60 kilograms of force right on the middle of it. That's way more pressure than any person could apply. And the phone? It just flexed a tiny bit and went right back to being perfectly flat. It is, believe it or not, stronger than some thicker iPhones. So what's the secret? How'd they do it? It all comes down to the materials. While the new iPhone 17 Pro models are actually moving to an aluminum frame, the Air is unique. It's sticking with polished titanium. It's still the strongest material Apple uses, and for a design this extreme, they absolutely needed that strength. Now, this is where things get really clever. You know how the new iMacs have that chin at the bottom where all the computer parts live? They basically did the same thing here. All the important stuff, the chip, the mainboard, it's all packed into a slightly thicker hump at the top of the phone. And that genius move leaves the entire rest of the super thin body for just one thing, the battery. It's a brilliant way to make the phone feel impossibly thin in your hand. But of course, a design this radical has to come with some trade-offs. You just can't have it all. And the first, and arguably the biggest compromises are with the camera and the audio. This is where the reality of the design starts to set in. And yeah, this chart lays out the biggest sacrifice pretty clearly. The iPhone Air has only one camera on the back. Now, to be fair, it's a fantastic main camera, the same 48-megapixel one from the Pro models, but you lose the ultra-wide lens, you lose the telephoto zoom lens, and since macro shots use the ultra-wide, you lose that too. For anyone who loves photography, that's a huge deal. It's not all bad news on the camera front, though. You do get the awesome new 18-megapixel ultra-wide selfie camera and the cool dual capture video feature. But here comes another compromise. The stereo speakers are gone. The Air just has a single mono speaker. If you watch movies or listen to music without headphones, you are definitely going to notice the difference. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room for any ultra-thin gadget, battery life. Apple did some really smart things to squeeze in as much battery as possible, but at the end of the day, you can't beat physics. So how does it actually perform? And here's the reality. The battery is just a little over 3,000 milliamp hours. That officially makes it the smallest battery in the entire iPhone 17 lineup, period. And even with software tricks like adaptive power mode, the simple truth is, if you're a heavy phone user, you're probably going to be hunting for a charger before your day is done. Of course, Apple knows this, and they already have a solution ready for you, which you'll have to buy separately. It's a brand new MagSafe battery pack, designed specifically for the Air. It shapes to fit perfectly around that single camera bump, which also means it only works with the iPhone Air. Pretty convenient for them, huh? Okay, so we've seen the incredible design, the powerful specs on the inside, and the pretty significant compromises they had to make. All of this brings us to the final, most important question. After all that, who is this phone actually for? This table really just breaks it all down. If the Wave device feels in your hand, that thinness, that lightness, that premium design is the number one most important thing to you, then the iPhone Air is your dream phone. But you have to be the kind of person who's okay with a less versatile camera, who can manage with so-so battery life, and who doesn't mind mono audio. It's a phone for a design purist, for sure. And the final piece of this puzzle is the price, which puts the iPhone Air in a really awkward position. At 39,900 baht, it's a huge jump up from the standard iPhone 17. But here's the really tough part. It's only 4,000 baht cheaper than the iPhone 17 Pro, a phone that gives you back all the things you sacrificed: the extra cameras, the bigger battery, the stereo speakers. And that tricky pricing leads to this very real fear. A lot of people are worried the iPhone Air might end up like other niche Apple products that we all loved, but that just didn't sell well enough, like the iPhone mini or that beautiful little 12-inch MacBook. It's an amazing piece of tech, but it might just be too specialized for the mainstream market. And so we land here. The iPhone Air is a statement. It's proof of what's possible when you push design and the feel of a device to the absolute limit. The only question left is whether that feeling, that wow you get when you first hold it, is powerful enough to make people overlook some very real, practical limitations. I guess only time will tell.